Alright, welcome back, friends and fiends. Oh, this thing is all up in my face. I am going to move this. Yeah, I've been messing with the restream. Let's see if I can get it, since we stream on multiple platforms, trying to get the chat on. Then I guess I'll have to do, like, full transparency, so I'll have to go back in and change those settings later. I was just messing around with it. I forgot that it's up. It's, it is probably up on all the screens as I was messing around with it. But, that's alright. We'll mess with it here in a second. Why would it be this? Nope. What? Dog. Yeah, sorry, I've been messing with the restream stuff, and I'm gonna figure this out. But it is pulling the wrong things on my end. I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm not gonna worry about it, but I do have to move this stuff. So my apologies. But welcome back, friends and fiends. We're gonna do the solo RPG stream thing today. That's what we do these days on Saturdays usually. So we're gonna jump in and we're gonna do that. We'll pick up is on session 9. So if you haven't been here or this is your first time looking at the session, don't worry, we'll be able to catch up to speed quick. We haven't gone over that much yet. We are at White Birch Inn. Let's go ahead and I think stuff over. It'll be. And let my dog do what he's doing right now, which is look out the window until he gets upset, which will definitely happen, at which point he will lose his privileges. Hey, I'm talking to you. He will lose his privileges while he does that, because he will get upset, because that's what he does. All right. Let's, right, where was I? Yes, sorry. So scuffed. Let's go ahead and pull it up. Yep, that's up there. Turn that up. All right, so what happened in session 8? So we started off in the morning. Remember that Cristoff had killed a floating dead zombie overnight that had tried to pull itself up on the boat, and he had taken care of it, and the fishers tried to ID that body, but they weren't able to do that. Gertrude had a knowledge that there was undead that seemed to be around Green Lake, which is a large lake that we're passing across, but doesn't know anything about the source of it. So we were like, all right, well, we're gonna continue moving on. The fishers had warned us that this was a dangerous area, that we probably shouldn't have dropped anchor there, but the sun goes down and we must rest. So that's what happens. We continue traveling, and we got attacked by a giant eagle, which came by and grabbed one of our guides, our fisherman, who was acting as a guide. So that was not great. Reed hid in the shelter with the donkeys, as was probably good because he, being the smallest member of the party, is the most likely to get picked off by something like a giant eagle as a tasty little snack. So he hid in the sort of like awning over the back of the boat. It's got like rudimentary shelter where the donkeys were. So we struggled to kind of make headway after that because we lost the one other person who was trained in water vehicles to be able to move the boat. So the group does their best to kind of step in for that person. And we are able to take a rest at the end of the day. Thankfully, the next night passes uneventfully. This is a very large lake, by the way. So here we go. Here's a lake down here. Doesn't look that big, but each one of these sections, remember, is 10 nautical miles across. So it is quite large. So we made our way from down here, trying to get all the way up to here, which is where we got. Wrong one. Yep. So we do that. Night passes uneventfully. In the morning, we're able to get up. We see an ochre jelly slithering towards the boat. We have a little bit of a chase scene. We actually do quite well. I thought this was going to go really poorly for us, but we ended up doing quite well. We were able to escape the jelly. And we pushed on, but Cristoff incurred a level of exhaustion, which was not going to help us with stuff that kind of came next. We went around the shipwreck remains of the giant boats. Cristoff's not as helpful with the boat, maneuvering it as possible. We got the confirmation of the naval battle with the giants, the catalyst, the expansion of the Fürstentum's borders into the northern marches, and bringing the Green Lake fully within the boundaries of the princedom, which is what we are trying to do. And now we are trying to... What Reed, our new noble, has been tasked with is to go beyond the current borders and to continue expanding the principality. That's right. we're doing expansionist fantasy. It's so great. But luckily, our person is not super power hungry motivated. So, they have a shred of consciousness still, which is nice. And in the next morning, we pick up and we actually make landfall and we arrive at White Birch Inn. So Reed grabbed a middle rate room and stabling for the donkeys. He's trying to keep a low profile because, again, there have been attempts on his life to either kidnap him or kill him. At this point, it seems like maybe they're leaning a little bit more towards the kill than the kidnap, which is unfortunate. So we're trying to keep a low profile with him, but everybody knows kind of the direction we're going. Problem is that we don't know exactly who's trying to kill him yet. And each kind of splits off to do their own thing for a minute. Reed got that middle rate room and got the stabling for the donkeys. Gertrude investigated a wooden stele, which is a marker for the boundary of the Fürstentum, which is actually behind, ways off behind White Birch Inn. And she does a little ritual to help preserve the stele and returns to find Cristoff, who has, at this point, started... he has knocked over waiter's drinks and then sits down with the patrons to have a drink and chat. He gets tied up into a bunch of gambling, which he starts off doing very poorly, and then in the end actually makes a profit, which is very funny. But he does kind of aggravate a group of drunken windwalkers, which are more like Romani, like rovers, gypsy kind of people who move through the world. And he has upset a number of them. But eventually they were able to sort of like extricate him. He introduced Reed as his porter and manservant, which Reed was not super happy about, and also trying to drag all their stuff upstairs to their room. But we make a gold off of him, which is not too much, which is good, because Cristoff for sure did not have the money to pay these people. And we ended with the group going up to their room in the sort of afternoon time, where Reed will have some choice words with Cristoff about his conduct and how that's gone, especially like naming him as a manservant and things of that nature. Anyways, that is where we are. So we can jump over here, and we can jump over to session 9 real quick. And we can just kind of jump right into it. So the door closes behind all of them, and Reed wheels around on Cristoff. What are you doing? I thought I was very clear that we are trying to keep a very low profile when we got here, and you've caused a giant ruckus while the two of us were out doing things. Drawn so much attention to you. And that puts attention on me, which is not good. We talked about this previously. I was like, I accidentally knocked over some drinks. People got angry. I tried to deal with it the best way that I could. And I was hoping to maybe ply them for some information, but they kind of goaded me into gambling. Things kind of spilling out of control. I apologize. And then, I had to, when you showed up, I had to come up with some reason that, because I didn't want them to think that, you were in charge, because then that draws attention to you. And so I was, I just kind of scrambled. In the moment, I just did what I could. And Reed's kind of feels. Right. Well, problem is that we also still need to go down there, Cristoff, because we have to find out some information about the place that we're going. Right now, we don't have any place to go to. We need information about the lands that we're going into, the people who are there, what's going on with them. Is there a place where we can set up our holding? We need all that information, and now there's going to be a lot of extra eyes on us because of that. So, I think this is one of those situations, Cristoff, where I really need you to stay in your lane. This is not your forte. I really need you to focus up. You really gotta rein it in. Yes, your lordship. Thank you. Gertrude, you learn anything? Hopefully you haven't caused any problems. No. There is a border stone out back. I blessed it with what blessings I could, but we know once we move beyond White Birch Inn, we will be quickly beyond the borders of the Fürstentum. And we will be into the wilds and the little kingdoms, the tribes of the hill folk. So I agree, we need information. Yes, we need information. Thank you, Gertrude. The animals have been seen too. We have the room. We have a bit of time still, though. Cristoff, I want you to hang out here for a while. Let things cool down, maybe a few hours. Let the walkers either get deep enough into their cups that they forget about you, or that they move on to something else, get distracted with something else, or they leave, or who knows. I mean, it's late in the day. They're probably going to stay here now. Oh, yes, that I was able to get from them. They appear to be the vanguard of their caravan, so more should be coming in the coming weeks as we get closer to summer. But for now, I think they are just sitting pretty. Okay. Well, I wish we could talk to the wind talkers. Wind walkers. They roam so much, they would have the best and most up-to-date information, probably. But I don't really want to draw that to the outskirts. They might not know stuff about what's happening in Fürstentum. Well, all right. Well, I think Cristoff, you stay here. Put our things away, get things ready, situated. Be prepared. Remember that we're going to be leaving probably on the morrow. Wait here for a couple of hours. We'll come get you for, I think, dinner. Once we have our evening meal, maybe we'll at least be able to get some general information about what's going on, and maybe we could start looking for some specific information. Maybe I'll have an opportunity then to swing by and talk to the Windwalkers once this is all kind of blown over. Gertrude, if you would spread out as well and see if you can find somebody else who has information. Kind of interjects at this point. Lordship, I think that it is safe for you to be down there without my attention. It's a large room, tap room's full of a lot of strangers. Any one of them could be somebody looking to do ill to you. We don't know where our enemies lie. It'd be in wait somewhere. Thank you, Cristoff. I understand the dangers. Unfortunately, at this point, you are a more overt danger, me being down there, than being up here. So, let's see. We can find out some information, huh? All right. Team, let's go. And they move back out. So, they're going to spend a little bit of time here collecting some information. So I went ahead and I opened up. This is the map that we have been working off of. This is our county scale map. Like I said, each one of these hexes is 10 nautical miles across. So pretty sizable. So we can really get through about 2 hexes per day when we're traveling. But we've been mostly sticking to roads and trodden paths. But once we get beyond here, remember that we need to find some place to put our holding in this area. So once we start going kind of northwest from here, we are going to move to a lower scale of map because it's going to be more important for us to be able to... Number one, our holding is smaller. Our holding will be... what exactly was our holding? Let's look. I think... you know what? It's probably in session notes. Commendation ceremony. So we get 12 league hexes max, which is sizable. But to put that into perspective, it would be 12 of one of these 12 of these little hexes, which does not, I don't believe, makes a full thing. 7, 14, yeah, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's 19 we can pick up in here that makes one of these hexes. So we get a nice holding. It's actually quite a large holding for our rank, which is baronet. Quite low. But, you know, isn't a full hex. So we won't lord over a specific place. Oops. That. And I was working on this right before because I realized we're getting very close to the point where we're going to need. And so in doing that, this is what they're going to find out, this area that they've been traveling through up to this point. And as they talk, they're going to find out some of these locations that I've already dropped down that I rolled for hexes that they've gone through or been adjacent to very quickly as they came up with their boat and made landfall and then have moved up to White Birch Inn. Most importantly, so we know that there's a gathering spot or a meeting spot that's over to the east of us. We know that there's some sort of treasure room that's down there. We'll pick up that. There is a construction of some sort of creature layer, so some sort of like dungeon, like formal dungeon that's happening on the shores. If we were playing a very standard D&D style adventure thing, that would probably be the thing we'd be most interested in. But we already have a mission, which is we need to get up into this area and find ourselves the best lot of land that we can to set up our holding and then formalize it. But the one thing that I do want to call to our attention that we are going to need to find out about very, very quickly is this. So I rolled this. Let me zoom in a little bit. If you can't tell what that is, there we go. That is a shield. Shield, anytime that I put that key on the map, that icon on the map, what it means is there's some sort of holding there. So we need to know information about the holding, which means that there's likely to be another noble there, which is important because that's probably going to be our closest neighbor and potential ally. Now, these are not one of the people who would have been at the court of Prince Hel's. Those were higher level people. So all the people who were attending us, there were other people who were scattered out throughout that, but those are very lower lords. So we were kind of measuring people who were at that county level, which is the next level of scale up. A little bit more important people. This would be like the high court, like people who are quite influential with the crown prince. This is somebody who's not super influential with the crown prince, but is somebody near the border. But it will be probably our closest ally, unless one of these also turns out to be one of them. So, what I want to do is I want to take some time and let's figure out who this is. So we can do that by jumping over here to our hex talking grade, and let's go down to holdings. The holding or fortification. So we're gonna roll a D10 right off the bat. And you know what? I think for this, let's go. I'll mess with that later. All right. So we're gonna go full screen, so that way I can do that. No. I really gotta turn this feature off. I keep forgetting to do it. I really do not like the split screen thing that browsers are doing right now. So we need a 1d10. Who kind of holds this place? All right, we rolled an 8. Okay, so it's some sort of religious official. Excellent. Bit better. I know my fat head's in the way. That's okay. It usually is. All right, so it's some sort of official. Now the question is this going to be somebody from our religion? There's an invasive religion that's happening within this area that we want to keep out. So I think 1 through 3, it's going to be of the religion that we subscribe to. If it's 4 or 5, it's going to be the invasive religion. If it's 6, it's going to be that other religion we haven't talked about yet. 3, great. It's somebody who's part of our druidic order. That's great. That's going to be something. Actually, that means it's probably somebody that Lord Keeper Gertrude will at least know about, likely. That's good for us. All right. So we need some sort of theme. So let's roll a theme. 1 and 15. Easiest way to do this is go up here. So we rolled a 1, which we know is always going to be artificial. 15. Okay, so we have ooze as a theme. Very interesting. Might not come up. Just nice to have. Go ahead and start making some notes down here. So we have folk religion holder. And we have ooze. Interesting. All right. Got it. Net this a little bit. Back down to holdings. All right, so we are fully in. I think we are technically still in the march. Yeah, well, I'd say we'd be in the settled area right now at this scale because we are right next to White Birch Inn. This is for sure going to be like White Birch Inn is the more notable thing that's over here in this area. It's not necessarily this church leader's holding. Nope. Nope, we're undersettled, so we're gonna roll d6. All right, so they have a keep in palace. Ooh, very interesting. Okay, so it's a keep in palace, but it's monster occupied. That's very interesting. All right, so let's start putting some information down. It helps if I... Okay. Sometimes this... There we go. All right, so we have... folk religious... Official... They have... And we'll figure out what type of official they are here in a minute. We have an ooze theme, which may or may not come up. That's just something, it's a shorthand. It's like, if I need something, I can make it kind of ooze related if I want to. Just sort of like a spark for descriptions, things like that. Hey, how you doing? Cool, Neon. I see you. So we've got that. We know that this is going to be a Keep in Palace situation. And we know that's going to be monster occupied. Now, we have that theme, so I think we're going to go with it's ooze. It's going to be ooze occupied. So oozy, I put an extra O in there. It's going to be ooze occupied. Yeah, can play? Yeah. It's going well for me. Thanks for asking. Yeah, we're dropping in, doing more solo RPG. Always a good time. All right, so we've got our Keep in Palace. Let's get some more details. All right, let's get D6 in here. But this is a league holding, so we're going to roll twice and take the lower one, which was 3. All right, so we're going to get everything up to here, essentially. Which is perfect for us. All right, so we're going to get the natural defenses. Let's see what we get out of this. 5. Okay, so we're going to get a partial moat. Sometimes this is not important, but sometimes it is. Especially when we're playing a political game. Could be important. So we're going to have a partial moat. Also have a gatehouse. And we're going to have a bailey. Grab that. Go for a bailey, I think, next. Two. Alright. And technically I should roll twice. Not that it was going to get any lower than that. Alright, so it's just a standard bailey. And that bailey is going to be... Timber Palisade. Perfect. I keep clicking on the wrong one. Palisade. There we go. Have I got anything exciting going on today? Yeah. We do. We are working on... Well, we've made it to White Birch Inn. We're about to go across the border into the marches. We're just trying to get up some information. In doing that, we found out that there is a local noble nearby that we actually need to address. Which we'll probably need to introduce ourselves to at some point. Because they will probably be our closest ally or potential enemy. And let's get a little bit of information about our gatehouse. In our gatehouse, we've got a wood portcullis. There we go. Got that. So what we need to do to really finish this out is we need to know a little bit more about our person down here. So we are going to go down here to our religious people. We'll go down here, and I think at this point we'll also roll 2d10s. We'll take the lower. Doesn't matter. All right, so we have a... It could be a mission or a parish priest. I like that. I like both of those. I'm thinking it's pretty far out, so it kind of makes me... Maybe it's kind of a conversion. That'd be interesting. There is an invasive religion, so you know what? I'm gonna go with parish. So it's gonna be a parish priest, or essentially a druid. And I'll go back and I'll work on that stuff later. It's in a different document that I need to go get all that information on. So I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I am gonna drop it down in here. And I'm going to write down 3d6. Well, I could just roll the 3d6. How about that? Okay, so their occupation is not very large. So they're in charge of basically 6 hexes. So it is somebody that we should probably introduce ourselves to at this point. We don't need to know too much about their name or anything like that. None of that's super important to us right now. But that's enough for right now. So let's go back to the workspace. I'm going to drop out of that. All right, so we have that information. So we got some basic information. Be like, oh, okay, so there are some dangers. This makes sense that there's this dungeon that's down there. Green Lake's been an area that's been attacked on the frontier for a while, and we're just now kind of, Fürstentum's just now starting to recontrol the area. So we get some basic information. So this is all the information we didn't have to roll for. But we did find out a little bit about this, and it's like, all right, well, we're definitely going to have to talk to this person at some point. This druid at some point. You don't have to do it right now, but we are definitely going to have to talk to this person at some point. So, we are going to move in, and I think the first thing to do is we got 2 people who are going to go for information. And we're going to spend a little bit of time here. We know it's in the afternoon. I'm going to basically give them, I think, only 1 attempt to gather information. We'll say that reading Gertrude, back downstairs, get information about the area, specifically to the northwest. So each of them is going to make a roll. We'll set up a DC for them real quick. Do this. 3d6. See it. Come on, low rolls. Those are exceptionally low rolls. We love to see that. We love to see low rolls like that. Those are nice. We don't get them a lot, but they're very nice. So that's a fat old 6 for a DC. That is great. I'll take those all day long. I got a few too many things. DC 06. So there's a chance that You know what? I'm gonna put it up here. We're gonna have Reed. Actually, I'll let Gertrude go first. I think hers is going to be less likely. All right, so I think this is just kind of a general rumor thing, which we would call charisma. I would probably allow them to put anything special they have into it, but they don't really have anything special that they could add to it. Guidance, probably not important. And also, if you're casting magic in an open area, people are going to look at you real weird, very suspiciously. So it doesn't really help us. So I think she's just going to go straight. She has a +1 in charisma. And she doesn't have really anything else she can throw into it. I guess we can ask a question. We can ask a question as to, hey, does it matter that... This will be an oracle question for us. Does her being a druid, a lore keeper, give her any additional insights? In fact, she might just know something. I guess we should give her a history check first, which she's quite good at. So, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Easily a pass. So she's going to know some stuff all outright, and then she's going to make a charisma check after that, which she's going to fail. Not catastrophically. We don't have to worry about like Cristoff, where she's gotten into a situation. But again, Gertrude's not the most personable person in the world, even though she does have a +1. So her history, a success. So she knows about something already, but her basically rumor check is a failure. Okay, so she's going to think about something that happened that she knows about in the area that they're going to already. The lore keepers are already quite good at keeping lore. It's in the name. So I think that we don't have to worry too much about the validity of the information she has. I think the stuff she's got, the way that they organize their way, the druids organize themselves in that way. Again, druids not in the D&D class sense. Druids as in more of a religious, social kind of construct, cultural construct. So I think from that aspect that we can assume that she knows this information. So we have a lot of things that are up here. We have what I believe there's 19, right? 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, so we have 19 hexes that something could be in. Makes it pretty easy for us to roll. So let's just roll a d4 to see like how many places she knows about something. Okay, so she knows of 2 places. We'll roll 2d20. 14 and 16, so both of them are pretty low. Low as in low on the hex. So we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So she knows something about it's here and here. Alright, these are way out in the wilds, way out in the boonies, so these could be anything. So let's roll 2d20 again. Ooh, okay. 6, interesting. So she knows of some sort of creature layer that's out there, but she also knows of a hazard. So she knows about bad things that are out there. That's great for us. All right, so we know that there is... She knows that there is a dungeon in this area, and she knows that there is a hazard in this area. That they've picked up information about over her time. Now, we don't know if she knows anything more specific about that. We could ask. But we know for sure. Hey, don't put that there. So maybe when we get back, we'll find out. Okay, so she knows about, and we'll add that to our information. We'll say her rumor check. Knows of a creature layer. Hazard in the area. That's great. That tells us those are probably places that we don't actually want to put our holding near. So we probably want to avoid those. Unless, and this will be important, and I think I'm going to wait for that for when the group gets back together. Be like, is the creature layer a complex? That's important. So there are 3 kind of archetypal dungeons that I consider in D&D or any other classic kind of fantasy TTRPG, and they are essentially, you have complexes, which are any places where people live and work. So that dungeon could be a already existing keep. And if that's great, if we were able to get in there and just take it over, that would save us a huge hassle. We wouldn't have to build anything from the ground up. That would be exceptional. It would also bring a lot of stability to the area. It would bring a lot of goodwill to the people out here, and they would probably flock to our banner, which is great. So that's really good. There are also natural structures. Those are like caves or forests if you're doing like a point crawl or something of that nature. Those all work out well. And then the last one is some sort of like a vault is the other one, which could either be a vault as in that it protects something inside from everybody on the outside, or it's a prison, which is just the inverse of a vault. It's protecting everybody on the outside from something that's housed within, where you bury your big bad evils, you put your fell artifacts, stuff like that, things you can't destroy, you bury in the ground and stuff like that. So we want to know if it's a complex, like if it's a potentially still operating mine or anything like that. If it's something like that, or even just a village that's maybe been under the yoke of bugbears or whoever's moved into the area, if we can free those people, I mean, it's a little new boss, same as the old boss, but it does put us in a position of power and kind of gives us a nice PR boost, which we could definitely use as being sort of an expansionist power. A great way to do that as being an expansionist power is being like bringing a sense of order to a region that is maybe under monster control. So that one would be key for us. So we want to figure that out. But her rumor check was a failure. So Reed's going to do a check as well. He should be able to pass this relatively easily. He only has to roll A2. I believe, yeah. Because he has persuasion, which I would allow him to use here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take away his persuasion. Because I think if he was going to use his persuasion, he'd be using his station, and he'd be using his sort of like courtly acumen, but he's also trying to hide himself. So maybe this is more of a deception check. I like that better. So maybe the question is it more important for him to conceal who he is? I like to do this sometimes as a Dungeon Master or Game Master. Is it more important for Reed to conceal who he is or find out the information? And I think for Reed specifically, he is more, given the multiple attempts on him, he is more concerned with protecting himself. So he's going to get advantage on deception. So he's going to make 2 checks. He's going to get an advantage on deception check, because he's going to make sure that he doesn't get found out. But it might be at the cost of having disadvantage on him actually gathering any useful information. Because once somebody starts asking too many questions, he's going to like disengage from them. All right, so deception check first. Yeah, 19 on the die, no problem. He, he gets at the bar. All right, doing his best, sort of like, I'm a common person kind of thing. All right, now he's going to try to make that. I guess we'll just call it basically a flat charisma check. I'll let him have persuasion. Oh, even when he takes the lowest, he's going to get an unnatural 20 at least. So yeah, he is going to get. He finds somebody in the corner who's willing. He finds that old crusty guy in the corner who's just looking for someone to talk to. The sort of person you talk to, and they're just like, the moment you give them the end, they're just gonna word vomit at you. And so this guy just starts shotgunning information at him. So we rolled really well. Oh, but we only get one piece of information. But I think if we only get one piece of information with that, we get a lot of information about it. So we're going to roll a d20 to find out where we are. So this person knows so much about it, it means either they're pulling it completely out of their butt, or they're extremely knowledgeable about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's right here. And what type of place is it? Ooh, 1. It's a settlement. That's great. This is going to be a hamlet. A hamlet would be an ideal place for us to take over, or at least be able to pull within our domain. So this guy seems to know a lot about this hamlet. And it seems weird. I guess you would think it would be weird, like why would people be making up a whole bunch of information about the hamlet? So I think given that information, it'd be like, if you were going to make up a lie, why not make it something more grandiose? But let's go ahead and do an insight check. Like, we're still on that 6 DC, so it should relatively be easy. Yeah. So the question is that guy telling the truth or not? So we know for sure that we've locked him in. We have a good beat on him as to whether he's telling us the truth or not. I think this person is, if they're speaking to like a nondescript hamlet in this much detail, that makes me think that they are probably from there or probably know it very well. So I think it's extremely likely that this rumor is founded. Yeah. Okay. So we know that this place for sure exists. Let's look at... We said that we're going to get some information about it, so let's get some information about it. So we're going to know its size, for sure. Alright, well, that won't work. Alright, so there's about 325 people in it. So it's a pretty good-sized hamlet. They can have a population up to 400, essentially, is how I usually run that. So they've got that going quite well. Blah, 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 blah. Which means their buying power is 32, so about 30, which is good. That's actually quite good for us. Means we can get most general resources there. So if we go down here and we look at our population, we know for sure that we said it was 325, so it's definitely going to have all of these things up there. It's going to have a couple guards with it for sure. It's probably got a noble in it. But that person could be independent. Or could own their allegiance to somebody. Or could be swayed, because we are beyond the borders at this point. So we're beyond the borders of any larger nation. Both the Fürstentum and Registros Laios' lands. The former Duke. Duchy. To the northeast. So this could be an independent person, so as far as we know, if we look up here, we don't know of anybody, and this is only things that we're only talking about things that are in this immediate area, really. Oh, actually, I guess we should have probably done this, huh? That's fine. That'll be what we do after dinner then. That's fine. These are just areas that are immediate here. That are right on the borderland. That's fine. Sometimes it happens when you're working between the scales. You like that. You're a little crosswired. It happens. So these are things that are in the immediate area. So these are things that are going to give us shelter, things to watch out for. So this is definitely good. Potentially couldn't take this over because it's technically within the boundaries. What we're really looking for is stuff that's over here. And probably in between sessions, I will build that out so we'll have the full look of everything. What's going on in here. So we have this little hamlet that's important. And it's probably also got a noble in it. So we should probably also pay some visits to. Might be very minor though. Probably like a lord, like really bottom rung, or like a knight. Extremely low. So much they don't even have their own like castle. All right. Yeah, so let's find out. I think if we're getting information, let's find out about something that's happened recently in town. So we're going to roll a d20 here. Something that's happened or might be about to happen. Ooh, we rolled a natural 20. I wish we could have saved that for a roll in which it would actually make a difference. Hey, Levy? All right. Ooh, strange creature sighting. That's fun. D6. 5. Undead. Ooh. So undead have been spotted in the area. I like that. So that's why this person's so excited to talk to us. Be like, oh, I saw this place. It's got issues with undead that have started showing up. So I got out of there. I like that. Let's roll on our little spark table here. Guys, over. Okay, so we got 24 and 65. 24 is going to be block. Lock control. Does this guy tell us some sort of kooky story about how the undead are being used to block control of the Fürstentum in the area? That sounds very interesting to me. I like that, so we're going to go with that. Recent monster sightings. Undead. Potentially being used. Block control the area by the Fürstentum. And we should probably come up with a name. Since we know so much about it, let's give this place a name. Usually don't give hamlets a name because they're such small villages. Even technically smaller than villages. There's so many of them, most people don't really give them names. They're not that notable. For this one, let's go ahead and do it. So we got a 2. Identifier and feature. All right, we need a D10. 1. A basic adjective. Let's roll 10 again. 1. All right. Position and proximity. Probably not my. It could be Prince. And then the other thing we got was feature. So some sort of feature of the land, which gives me the idea that we probably know what kind of landscape it is. So we're going to roll 2d6. 8. All right, it's exactly what we think it's going to be, which means it's going to be... Leave us. Yeah. All right, so it's just going to be more swamp. Oop, not what I meant to do. I forgot that we're still using the stamp. We need this. There we go. So we could call this... I mean, there's no real reason not to call it just border ham. So I'll come up with a translated name for that. For now, it's in kind of plain English speak. It's going to be border ham. Its proximity to the border is truly the last place that you kind of have civilization before you cross out of the Fürstentum. White Birch Inn is like the big last place. This is like the real last place, like no gas for 50 miles kind of place, or 100 miles kind of place. Like this is your last chance, of last gasp of civilization. Keep going that way, you're out in the wilds, man. So I like that. I like it a lot. We get this information. That's good. So that tells us, hey, there's like adventure there. So remember, for those of you who have been with us from the beginning, and if you're new, we're going to talk about it just for a second, that if, go back over to our reference doc. So our main quest right now is to establish a successful holding in the Northern Marches. The first step of doing that is we got to set up a base camp, which means we got to get there. So we got to arrive at the Northern Marches, which we're like right there. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one complete. We made it to White Birch. I think that's it. That's good. We need to outline the fief's border. And we have to basically set up our camp. These two could probably be replaced. I think we need to... I think that makes more sense like that. So completing each one of these steps, each one of these milestone steps, setting up a base, that's how we get our level. That is how we get our levels here. So, anything that we do, like helping out about this zombies thing, that's a side quest. Side quests are not bad, but they do have a thing that happens. Essentially, if we decide to focus on a side quest instead of going after the main quest, this is when the threat mechanics drop in. So anytime, and we're pulling this straight from Ironsworn 12, which is on the bookcase behind me. So if we complete a side quest, pass or fail, there's a 50% chance the menace advances on the main quest. Which is things that are stopping us from achieving our quest. Which could be hill folk attacking, that could be assassins coming after Reed again. It could be a lot of other things, political machinations. It could be somebody burns down our supplies or steals them, or there is always a chance that like something's coming for us if we do it. But that means the way that works is that if we complete main quest stuff, we get levels, which is great. It grows our power. If we do side quest stuff, we get loot, which we also need, which is also good. So it's going to be a little bit of a balancing act about the things that we want to do. Now, the nice thing is that once we get established, and especially if we get some like money in our coffers, in our treasury, we could do things like hire adventurers. If we hire adventurers, they can go deal with that stuff. And pick up our own guards, and maybe we can get ourselves a court wizard and stuff like that. All sort of cool stuff we could do. It's a little bit in our future right now, but not that far away. We're starting to pick up the ties. We're starting to make those ties about like who could be helpful at this point. You know what? This NPC with Reed has been super helpful. Now, on that note, so let's ask him a little bit. On the wrong thing. That was on the thing I needed. There we go. Reed. Hi, thank you. I know it's there. So, success and hides countenance. Learns about issues with Borderham. Again, I'll come up with a different name for that later. So I think if we ask this person, what do they do? What's kind of their deal? And I should have pulled it out. I didn't think about it because I didn't think we'd need it. So I'm going to roll a D100, and I am going to see, you know, like, who is this person? Like, what's their deal? This is our handy dandy Ian's Guide document. In which I have a D100 table that's just kind of like jobs and stuff like that. Roll 96. That's very funny. See if this one over here is any better. Oh no, they're so close. They're so close. It's so funny. Alright, so 96. This person's either a charlatan or traveling imposter. or they are a town drunk or doomsayer. So all 4 of those things are very close to being the same thing. I'm gonna give them another roll for like what they might be an imposter of. 37. Ooh, they're pretending to be some sort of artisan or craftsman. I'm gonna roll again just to see like what type of craftsman they're going to be. Ah, okay. So they're like a messersmith. So they're like a knife maker. They're pretending to be like a knife maker. A journeyman knife maker who kind of travels around itinerant. But they are pretending to be that. They are not actually that. And I think Reed rolled well enough on his insight check to notice that. So, NPC. Because we haven't given them a name yet, it's not that important. Pretending to be a knife maker. Traveling knife maker. Like a journeyman. So somebody who's pretending to be a knife maker. I think, obviously, Reed kind of picks up on it. Kind of look at him. It's pretty easy, I think, probably looking at the person being like, this person doesn't look like they spend a lot of time in like a smithy or a forge or anything like that. Like they don't have the right build. They don't seem to have sort of gear or clothing or bearing that would make sense with that to him. And he's going to call that out a little bit. Well, you sure seem to know a lot about Borderham. Again, we'll change the name later. I'll come up with a better name in between streams. But you're a guild artisan, are you? Oh yeah. Bit of a messersmith. See, yeah. You don't really strike me as a messersmith. You strike me as somebody who's quite good at convincing. They're a messersmith. Let's give this person, or you know what? This will just be an oracle roll because we already had good insight. We already had good. We don't want to keep rolling for things we've already succeeded on. Be like, you know, how is this person pliable or endeared by that statement? Yes. Okay. Good. I thought he could go 50-50. I guess that's. I'm a procurer and reseller of items, then. A little less smith, a little bit more merchant. I see. So, you're a person who can get things and knows things. That I am, my boy. I can find and learn a lot of things. For the right person. For the right price. That's very interesting. So, I appreciate your information about Borderham. Seems like definitely a place we want to give maybe a wide berth to as we travel out. But a person of your talents would be very useful for my group. We're looking for information, specifically of the lands beyond the border of the Fürstentum. Oh? And what would a young lad like you be wanting to do, leaving the cozy, warm embrace principality? Well, let's just say that there are more opportunities without than within. Fair enough. See that? So, what can I do for you? It's a good question. So I feel like Reed's at a position where he could maybe we could try to get this guy to give us some more information about specifically things that are out there. I think is really good. I think we could also ask this person to join us, which would put a pretty big tax on our resources. But maybe we could instead make this kind of like a point of contact. Somebody who we don't really have a spot to send them to yet because we don't have a home base. Once we have a home base, somebody who could like bring us information or send us messages, kind of be an informant of things that are going on. But I think information is the key thing that we're looking for right now, so probably information. Well, I have enjoyed your tale of things that are happening at Borderham, and you seem to know quite a few things that are with your specialty, let's say that, about your travels might take you beyond the borders of the princedom. And since that's the case, it seems like you might have some other great stories about things, places, and people who lie beyond the border. And me and my friends are always good for an evening's entertainment. So, how about this? We will host your dinner, and in return, you can tell us what you know about the borderlands. That seems like a pretty fair deal. I don't know. I can't really come up with any reason why he wouldn't want to take that. But I'm going to roll an oracle roll. I don't really think it's a persuasion check. I think we've already passed that point. So it's just, are they going to be okay with that? I think it's extremely likely. So +5 to that. Oh, but they refuse. No, of course, I appreciate the invitation, but I truly must be on my way. I'm afraid that I may have overstayed my welcome here already. So, after doing some dealings, I am about to head out. But, certainly, I passed through White Birch Inn and places like Borderham area quite regularly, so perhaps we shall see each other again soon. Alright, well, needs must, but please, if you change your mind, we'll having a meal later. Feel free to stop in. Of course. I will be gone by then, but thank you. And they part ways. So they go back up to the room, share the little bit of information that they have with each other. At that point, we figure out, hey, about the creature, about the lair, does she know more about it? Yeah, I think it's pretty likely. So again, +3. Yeah, that's 20. So it's like yes, and she knows the very specifics. So she knows exactly what it is, and I think she knows who occupies it with that unnatural 20. All right. So what type is it? Just a flat roll, complex, natural structure, vault. Natural structure. Great. So I think that tells us that we need to know the surrounding landscape. 5. 5 is... +1 more verdant. Okay, so it's going to be a wetland. Oh, actually, it's going to be more than a wetland. It's going to be water. Go to here. So we know that this is absolutely water area. Now again, anytime that we fill in a hex like this, remember that it is over 2 miles wide. It doesn't mean that this thing is water, but it could mean that it's an island. There are plenty of small islands it could be on. Could be underground, could be in the air, could be underwater. Could be, honestly. Well, if we'd rolled complex, I'd say it could have been something like a ship, but probably not. It's going to be some sort of natural structure. So it could be some sort of caves or anything like that. You know what? Let's roll on our D100 and see if we get... Tells us anything fun. 56, 58. That makes it easy. Break peril. That makes me think it's like something that breaks the water, so there's some sort of like... Hey, that makes me think of probably an island. I think it might be more helpful if we find out what type of creature it is. We rolled a 1. And we rolled a 13, which I... Gonna be what? Rolled a 1, so it's definitely artificial. And we rolled a 13. Oh, it's more ooze. More oozes. That'll happen every once in a while. All right, so more oozes. We know it's a location of ooze. We'll go ahead and add that down there. Now, we've already seen some, like, ochre jellies and stuff like that have been in the area. Structure. Layer. Ooh. And I think... Go ahead and get an APL for it. So, that's average party level, so we'll kind of have an idea of what challenge it is. Gotta be a D4. Level 4. Alright. Hmm. Maybe it's like an extremely kind of shallow lake pond. Like, you can probably walk through it. But that means that the oozes are just not quite tall enough to break the surface of the water most of the time. Okay. And maybe it's a bit of a maze, like there's definitely pockets of like deep water within it too. So finding your pathway across it is very challenging. But also, yeah, maybe at some points like it's actually quite close to the surface, so sometimes you can see the oozes come out. It also makes it very difficult to like use a boat to get across because there are places that you can't. You'll actually have to get out of the boat. It's hard to pick your way across it. That's kind of the challenge. And that in and out of the boat means slow progress, which means it's more likely for oozes to get on top of you. So, very interesting. But it probably means that like a lot of people have been died in that area, or potentially maybe a lot of boats have gone down with some lucrative treasure within it. That could be fun. I like that. So we're gonna go with that. So he tells us a little bit about that. So no. A natural structure. A shallow lake. Oozes. High bars. In deep trenches. Making travel across it extremely slow and dangerous. The truly is like you should probably just go around it if you have the opportunity to. Now the only thing that we haven't learned about it, so let's go back here and back down to our dungeon / layer. Natural structure. And we need to know down here, we need to roll this d6 right here. 5. Monster occupied. We need that already. It's got a bunch of oozes in it. But I wanted to make sure there wasn't like a little like steading or something that's nearby that's kind of assailed by them. Nope, not at all. Nobody's living there. Definitely a place that people stay away from, for the most part. But if you were able to clear that dungeon, that'd be nice. Alright, so we learned about that. Perfect. The hazard I'm not as concerned with. I don't think we're going to head over in that direction. We learned a little bit about that. I think Cristoff's getting a little stir crazy. I guess one of the things we should have done. He did a really well. No, we know that for certain. We beat the deception check already. We know for certain that nobody recognized our boy Reed. I was about to say we should check to see if somebody recognized him. We already did that actually. That's perfect. All right, so in that we reconvene and share what they learned. Reed tells the group about the charlatan that refused his dinner invitation, but seemed very knowledgeable and sneaky. And we'll say capable. Maybe we'll go with clever. Knowledgeable and clever about the borderlands. Could prove to be a useful contact future. Prove. All right. And after that, the group assembles for dinner downstairs. I guess good question is like, did they get a good look at like what's going on with the Windwalkers? They weren't paying a ton of attention to it. I think I'm going to give them disadvantage on the check because I don't think that that's a clear thing that they're looking for. But I do want to see if they notice anything that's going on with them. Okay. All right. DC 8. Not too difficult. So even with disadvantage, there's a chance that both Gertrude... Actually, I think both of their passives are higher than that. But not with disadvantage. Actually, with disadvantage, Reed still makes it. Because you -5 technically for when you try to do disadvantage off passive check. So even that takes his 13 down to 8. Which means he still has an idea about what's going on. Which works out well. And I assume we've come up for dinner, so things are going well. So I think it's likely that that's not going to be an issue. Maybe not. So, okay. So he saw them. Maybe he saw them leave. Maybe that makes more sense. So he saw them leave. Let's say that. And in leaving, like once they went outside, I lost track of them. But I did see them leave. But we know that they're going to stay in the area, so they're kind of unaccounted for. Yeah, so we don't, unfortunately, just don't have any idea about. Maybe they rode off to meet somebody. Maybe they're making a barter deal. Who knows? Maybe they were just looking at their animals. Maybe they're sending a messenger. It could be a dozen different things. So, you know what, Cristoff, why don't you come downstairs with us? Maybe that's more dangerous. Everybody be prepared for a scuffle if a scuffle happens, but let's not start anything. But if it shows up, we have to, then I guess we'll finish it. Won't make us any friends at White Birch, but hey, we're moving on from here in the morning, so... At that point, we'll talk down here. We got some information about what's close. Let's see if we can spread out and maybe get some more information about the notable things that are on the path to the northwest where we're looking to travel into. We tell them that we're going to the swamps, northwest. Maybe somebody will think about traveling through that area. See if anybody can give us some information about places to go to, places to avoid, that sort of thing. All right. So, we're going to split up again. on let's say good places, and it won't really matter. On notable places I'm traveling through. Swamp. We'll say to the swampy lowlands. Around the root. Remember, if you have forgotten, that the river runs right through that place. Very, very large river. So this is a whole bunch of like lowlands where the river's gonna run. Because this lake basically drains into this swampy area when it overflows. Like up into that downstream, and then pushes off and goes down the way. Bends up and then bends back. The thing about this is no, that's right. Okay. So, Green Lake feeds into here, and from here it feeds out into the area over here and continues on. So, perfect. We know that there's a lot of waterway stuff that's going on in here. Ideally, if we know where that flow goes through, because there should be like a primary riverway that moves through. If we can find out where that is, and we can find a bend in that river, where we can set up shop, that would be ideal. Being on the interior of a river bend is incredibly advantageous, both for growing crops, right next to running water. That's super helpful. And the nice silt that tends to be fertile. But also being on the interior of a river bend is very defensible. Basically get an extra moat. And Rook is it's a big river. Being on the inside of that would be really nice. We also know that there's another little river that's a little creek or something that spits off into here. Alright, so at this point we're going to be looking for information for these guys. So that's larger than this guy. Guys, it'll be like, we're talking about stuff that's going to be like way up here. You can't see because my fat head's in the way, but areas that are way up here. So that's the plan. So we're going to sit down, we're going to have dinner, everybody's going to fan out and try to get some more information. Now, this information probably going to be a little bit more thanks to finding somebody who seemed to be pretty knowledgeable about a low-level area and having a lore keeper in our ranks, made that the stuff that we got here, we're pretty solid that this information is correct, is verifiable, that none of this is true, or that none of this is false. Once we start talking about things that are big, maybe not. And so at that point, we're going to start throwing down question marks down here. So we've got a nice little question mark icon. There it is. And we'll start throwing down question marks to be like, this is what people told us was there. May or may not be there. May or may not be in the right hex. So it depends like that. Sometimes it'll be like, I've done this before. We did this in Leah's adventure. It's like, oh, it's here. How likely are they to know that? And we end up with a big spread of like, it could be here, or here. So it might be a big area that we're actually filtering through. All right, with that in mind, I think what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take my quick break. I'm going to refill up on my coffee. We're going to come back and we're going to do those questions. And assuming we finish that and everything goes well, we'll probably spend the night and get up in the morning and start heading off into the marches proper. Into the borderlands beyond Fürstentum and into a lot more danger. which is unfortunate. But it's going to be danger that we're going to be more likely to be able to handle, which is nice. All right, well, that's it, guys. So you guys hold on real tight. I'm going to take my break, and I'll be back in just a minute, all right? All right, let's get back into it. Great. You know what? I'm gonna get in the way of. I think I'm showing you guys information for right now. So we are hopping back in. We are going to ask some questions. So everybody's gonna split up and kind of do their thing. Saw the before I forget, the Windwalkers leave the inn. But no, they should still be in the area. So that could be an issue for us, but we don't know yet. Okay. All right, so we hop back in. We're gonna go to dinner. So dinner comes with the room, so we don't have to worry about paying for it, which is nice. We don't have a ton of money. So everybody's gonna do their thing. We're gonna have Reed. We'll leave Reed for last. No, I think let's leave Cristoff for last. I think that makes the most. We'll leave Cristoff for last, and we'll lead with Reed, and we'll let Gertrude kind of do them. They grab some dinner. They kind of grab a small table. There's quite a few people here, like people from the surrounding area kind of come in and talk and do that sort of stuff. And as we go forward, we go, all right, well, who are some people that we can grab and take a look at? Who seems like they might be well-traveled or might have some information? Hey, how you doing, Cutter? Nice to see you. It's going well. How are you? Some information. We just need like larger information right now, so that's what we're gonna do. So Reed's gonna go out and fly his craft again. He really needs to keep himself more secret, so we're gonna give him advantage on that deception check, and we're gonna give him disadvantage on sort of his persuasion check to get. But we need that DC first. Oh, we've been doing really lucky on the DCs. That's a DC of an 11. That's totally something we can manage. That's something that even Cristoff might be able to beat. But it's starting to get busier here in the evening, so there's a lot more people here, so it's a little bit easier to stay away from prying eyes. All right, so his deception, easily done. And his persuasion, which will be, again, we're going to be disadvantaged here. Ooh, it's a 3, and we missed out on that natural 20, which is awful. Really like to keep that. Really like to keep that, because that's definitely 3, 4, 5. That's an 8. That's a total failure. That's total failure. So, how does that failure manifest? Is it? Let's put it this way. Does somebody? This is where we start asking the oracle questions. We could also roll on our solo dark table, but I'm going to ask the oracle questions first. Does Reed see somebody who might recognize him, so he kind of has to do one of these, and kind of has to stop looking for people? Maybe he has to remove himself to his room. Is that the case? Yes. Okay, so somebody does. All right, now let's roll on the oracle and see if that gives us any indication about who this person might be that would recognize us. 18 and 52. Demand. And sorcery. And sorcery. That makes us feel like it's certainly somebody, some sort of magic person that's kind of coming into here who might be looking for. Or now, at this point, Reed's not a particularly magic person, but he does have a thing. Not have a thing. No. I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking he had something that obscured divination, which he does not. Probably not that. I don't know what sort of magic person it would be, though. And sorcery. Reed gets into a fire and misunderstanding. Yeah, I think he's just trying to avoid stuff. He's been really good. He was successful at avoiding stuff. So we know that he's going to stay away. But I think he is going to blow his horn of silent alarm. Let me... he's going to blow one of these. Blow one of these charges. Didn't make any sound. But then he's going to blow it for Cristoff and, like, be able to, like, make eyes with Cristoff. Kind of, like, point over to somebody. I don't know anything about this person, so I guess let's roll on the D100 NPC table and see if it kind of gives us something. Getting a lot of nothing right now. Not getting a lot of good insight as to, because a magic person could be druids. It could be that druid that got away. It could be. If I don't come up with something, this doesn't give me something better. That's what we're gonna. That would be a net or rope make gonna work for us. A bandit or a pirate, which would work. The problem is like I don't know why Reed would recognize them. Unless maybe what it does is this bandit clearly has somebody who has magic with them, and they're able to do like the minor illusion cantrip. So they're like able to make the minor illusion and make kind of like a wanted poster kind of look of Reed, which is clearly Reed. Very easy to tell. He's a pretty recognizable guy. Short, young halfling who has those sort of like raccoon red painted eyes. So that little image is like, oh. So yeah, let's say it's a bandit comes in, and I guess we should ask, are they alone? Probably unlikely. Yep, nope, there's definitely one. I gotta say, there's probably a handful. I'm not even gonna roll for it. So there's probably a handful of them. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. Is able to hide his personage. But before he can make any progress, gathering intel, catches rough looking group flashing a minor illusion image of himself. He's gonna blow the horn of silent alarm to Cristoff and go up their room. So he's basically like, oh, there are people here. They're definitely looking for me, and they know what I look like. So I'm going to be like, hey, Cristoff, those are the guys. I got to get upstairs. I got to get out of here before they see me or somebody else recognizes me. So we're going to put these under rough looking group. We're going to put that under bandits. Banditos. Hey, how you doing, Solo? Nice to see you. So yeah, so unfortunately that failure is just going to be like, well, we got to bounce. That leaves Gertrude, who is still doing her thing. So we're going to give Gertrude an opportunity to get some information. Now, luckily she doesn't have disadvantage, not that she's particularly good at it, but she's got to roll, what, a 10? Yeah, so she needs to roll a 10 as she tries to chat up some people to try to get that intel about things. Probably easy for her as a lore keeper. We'll ask that again. We asked it earlier, but let's ask it again because it's a different situation now. Does being a lore keeper give her any advantage, essentially, as to people wanting to talk to her? Because it's very natural as a person who gathers and keeps lore to be like asking people questions and tell me about the things that you saw on your journeys, things like that. Does that give her any advantage? Yes. All right. I will take it. I'm going to give her advantage on her check. Wouldn't have needed it anyways, but we got it. All right, so she's going to get some tidbit of information about what's happening over on the county side of the hex. That's good. I came here to see the process in action. Yeah, absolutely. Hang out. It's going to be fun. It's a lot of talking this time. It's a lot of trying to gather information about the area we're going into. So we did a D4 before, so I think I'm gonna do a D4 again. So she's gonna get like 2 different points of interest. They're up there. I like it. Let's look at our map. So it's gonna be something within here. Now there are 31 of these squares, or squares, hexes, 31 of them. So we can roll a D30 for where and where. All right, that's gonna be 0, 1. All right, so right at the top of the key. And 0, 3. I'll take them. That makes life easy. Technically, that'll be 0, 4. We'll have already filled one in. All right, so something here, and then 2, 3, 4, and something here. So they know something about these 2 spots. Wrong one. What's in here? A 16 and a 14. And we had 16 before, and I forgot what it was. A treasure rumor and a conflict area. Nice. So, nice. Not that super great for us, but something. Alright, so 16. We're going to drop this in. Grab our little star. Designates it's a treasure rumor. And this crossed sword and axe tells us it's a conflict area. So she learns that these 2 things are kind of up there. Alright. Maybe far away from us. Does she get any additional insights into that? Does she want to, like, press that luck? She's not the greatest roller in the world. I think we'd add 5 to the DC. You know what? I usually say add 3 if I want to make it more difficult. So let's say add 3. 14. Which will raise the stakes a little bit. She's going to draw more attention to her if she does that. And she only has a +1. But we did say she gets advantage for using her lore keeper thing. So I think that's what we're going to do for right now. Yeah, I mean, we got to have that information, right? Did she get any more insight as to what the specifics are of those areas? Okay, I'll take the natural 20. That's yes and, so I think that she's going to get quite a bit of info. Alright, so she's going to get good info. And I think with that natural 20, she not only gets the information, I think she knows that it's verifiable. Like, she has a good understanding that this is truth. Don't have to worry about these being rumors that she might go up to and be like, I mean, the treasure rumor is still going to be a treasure rumor, whether it's going to be real or not. But we're going to know at least a little bit about it for sure. Or we're going to know specifically if it's maybe not fake. I like that. All right, so let's start with our treasure rumor. Really, I want to know the status first. 6, which I think means it's free and clear, right? Easy pickings. Interesting. Yeah. What is this thing? Free. Alright, so some sort of treasury. Do we know of any specific treasure in there? We could roll for a specific treasure type. Let's see if the solo dark table will give us anything. 94 and 10. Change. Change risk. Change risk. Maybe some sort of item that, like, bends luck. I like that. We'll use it. Go up here. Easy pickings. Some type of item that bends luck. Treasury. Easy enough. We can always fill in and make this a little bit more robust later, but that's where we are right there. Oh, my webcam's blocking most of the map. Well, most of the map that it's blocking right now is fully empty, but we can zoom in a little bit. That'll let us bring it down. This is the area we're playing in. Yeah, there's no good place for the webcam. If I put it down at the bottom, it blocks the stuff that I'm writing. If I put it up at the top, it blocks the map. The only other thing I can do is remove my beautiful face. And I'm certainly not that. I won't deprive you of my beautiful face, right? So let's learn a little bit about the conflict area. Primarily, I want to know who's beefing. 4-1. Beast? Yep, a beast. Ooh, and 6-6, which is whatever's after aberrations. Yeah. Beast versus Celestial. Okay. And I can fill out some of this information more later. It will become more prescient as we get closer to those areas. We are not near those areas right now. But let's go ahead and put the information down. Alright, so we know that there is a... Could be a current conflict. I guess that would be useful to know. Is it a current conflict? Is it old conflict? What's going on here? D4. Two. Alright, so the battle rages. So it is an active kind of war zone. Oh, that's not good for us. So definitely probably don't want to put our holding in that area. We have a lot of area to pick from, but I assume we'll probably pick something. Like I said, I really want to figure out where the river's going. That'll be the primary thing. You know what? I think that that's going to be the number one thing that Cristoff's going to ask for. Where is the river outflowing from Green Lake? It's going to be in one of these hexes. Could be through this hex right here, but generally whenever I do these maps, I always make it kind of one of these hexes that goes directly in, so it's not in a weird border hex. Half in one zone and half in the other. That'll be helpful for us, because remember that we bought like a canoe, or coracle, we have like a little boat. And so that makes travel much easier if we can do that, especially since we have the donkeys, and donkeys could pull us along the shore. If we won't be necessary here because we're going to be going downstream, but definitely makes moving around much easier. Both primarily in the amount of effort that we use to do that. Be really cool. Allows us to get a lot further and get a lot more done, which is what we want. All right, perfect. So that is what Gertrude gets up to in this intervening time. So Cristoff's really only going to have an opportunity to talk about one thing, I think, before he gets the look from Reed. Finds out about the... Gonna find out about the conflict area. And... what was the other thing? The treasure room. And she gets... good verified info. Oh, Cristoff. All right, buddy Cristoff. Last time we sent you to talk to people, it did not end well. Did not end well. But this time, let's hope it's a little bit better. So he's gonna have one check. Got one opportunity. There we go. Okay. My sweet baby Cristoff. You have a +1 in charisma. All I need you to roll is a 10 or better. You have a 55% chance. That's it. That's all I need from you, buddy. Whatever you do, please don't roll a 1. Like last time. That's a C average, baby. That's exactly what we need. Nothing more and nothing less. Thank you, Cristoff. All right, so Cristoff is able to at least get us the information about the river. 50-50 on low, it's going to be on the left. High, it's going to be on the right. All right, supposedly on the left. We'll give him... I mean, I can't really understand why somebody would lie to him about this. But, so I'm going to give him, I think, advantage. To be like, how, as an insight check, to be like, how solid does this information seem to you? Didn't matter. Both won. Alright, so we know, with a pretty good amount of certainty, that I am looking at the wrong map. That's our zoomed in map. We need our zoomed out map. We're going from here. Get our guy here, and we're gonna boop, boop, boop. There we go. All right, so that means that these are probably going to meet up here. That's good though. This is where we're going. All right. At this point, Cristoff's talking to this traveler. It's like, okay, so most of the outflow of the Rooktheek is west of us. All right, great. Take that outflow. We can definitely make good time. Well, I thank you very much and for your help. He hears like the silent alarm go off. Starts looking around. Catches eyes with Reed. Then looks back that way, following his gaze. And Reed heads up that way. We'll give Cristoff an opportunity to be like, not really a check on his side. It's going to be just fully an oracle check. Extremely unlikely. -5. Does he recognize these people? I think that's extremely unlikely. He's not really from this area. But maybe he's heard of these people. Apparently he has. He's still got a 13. So the answer is yes. He does recognize these people. So they are of, I assume, some notoriety in the area. Or maybe that's something that he had. As soon as he was talking, he was talking with this person like looked over and saw them and like, you gotta watch out for those people. Somewhat well-known bandits in the area, so they show up here a lot. They try to get a bead on people who are leaving out into the frontier. They chase them down. So, I know you said you're leaving tomorrow. Don't let them know that. Cristoff's kind of watching them. And I think he's going to kind of push through the crowd. Again, very crowded tap room. Over towards Gertrude, who kind of finished up her... thinking of something. Elbow. We have people here. They seem to be looking for Reed. Apparently they're bandits, maybe border reavers, something like that. Anything for a coin, am I right? So, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to try to out? Do you want to... Feeling Reed's been here for a little bit. Somebody kept a low profile, but somebody might give us away. Yeah, let's see. Do either one of them have a good plan about what to do? I think this is a good time to use our solo dark thing. Just be like, they put their heads together and they think about something. 72 and 2. 72. Contain. Contain life. Okay, so I think to me, I interpret that as being like, all right, what we're gonna do, we're just gonna go back up to the room and we're gonna hunker down, and we're gonna hope for the best. We're just gonna remove ourselves from the room. We're gonna hunker down. Hopefully, these people pass by, and we'll just get out of here. Prepare ourselves, maybe for a quick exit if we need to. The two of them start heading upstairs, the room. They do their secret knock. And Reed opens the door. Right. Pretty good. Okay. We saw him outside. I think the best thing to do is to hole up here, keep you safe. Lord, I'm gonna check the window. He walks over and like opens the shutters. This is very olden times, so there's no glass. There's like shutters that close and then it's open to the air outside. And with a nice little like curtain that goes across it. Opens the curtain, opens the window, and looks outside. Let's give him a perception check. He's gonna pull down his goggles. Does he see anything? Good advantage. That's really pretty good. It's gonna be over 20. Easy. That's a DC 11. Easy enough. Does he see people outside? No. In fact, it's utterly clear outside. So it's no and utterly clear outside. So he looks outside. He's looking this way to see if there's like other bandits like casing the place. He doesn't see anybody. So either they are on the other side of the building. Question, can he see the stables from here? No, it's fully on the other side. So they are separated from their animals, so they don't know if they'll have to pass anybody. In fact, it's probably likely, if there is anybody waiting out there, that they can't get to the livery or the stables, get their donkeys without being seen. But the window is open, and there's a nice, like, bit of roof ledge there, where it's very easy that they could tumble out and drop down from the second floor down to the first floor, unseen, and completely get out of the way and run for cover into the nearby woods, if they needed to. But they would have to leave donkeys behind. They would also have to leave their boat behind because they don't have that stuff in their... all that stuff's packed up in the stable. And jump in. So they have a way out. Right. So, look around. Alright, well, coast is clear outside. If we want to drop out, make a run for it, we can make a run for it if we need to. What do you guys think? Should I go scout? See if there are any others waiting on the other side. Really like to get the donkeys and the boat as far as supplies and stuff. I think Reed would agree to that. They are kind of up the river without a paddle, actually without a boat, if they don't take the boat with them. That boat specifically is going to make their life a lot easier. As will the donkeys. The donkeys will definitely make their life a lot easier, carrying all their stuff. Reed finds a moment of inspiration, levels up and casts Fireball to kill his pursuers. Yeah, somebody's hired. Somebody really doesn't like him. Somebody's looking for him. And now they're hiring people with magic, or at least some sort of hedge magic. Which, you know, there are a few ancestries that can cast spells without being spellcasters, so it could be elves. We didn't spend much time looking at them. So, but I think the idea is like, yeah, we should probably got good eyes. You can go wide, maybe get some cover from the trees, circle around the building. On them. I agree. I think that's a great plan. So, Gertrude and Reed hunker down. Gertrude's probably going to take a chair or something that's in the room and, you know, do the old, like, put it under the doorknob and kind of move a dresser over and quietly as they can and try to barricade the room in case things go real weird real quick. That's what she's going to spend her time with. Reed's just kind of pacing at this point, trying to figure out, probably packing some stuff up and being like, all right, if we need to go, here's the stuff. Just grab it and jump out the window. And meantime, our boy's going to move around. I'm not going to make him make a stealth check because he has the very specific magic item that he has, which allows him, which are these eyes of the eagle. They allow him to see like minute detail within like a mile, so he can go certainly into the woods plenty enough that like nobody's going to see him. It's also like dusk at this point. Like, the sun's going down. Like, nobody's going to see him very well. He's got plenty of ability to see people. And he gets an advantage. So, and he has the... oh, that's right. He has the obscurement thing because he's part wood elf. So, like, yeah, he takes a jaunt a few yards away. You know, probably 15, 20 yards away into the tree line. And Cristoff is a ghost. He's just gone. he disappears. So he gonna run around the other side of the building. You know what? Like, we should change our music. This is a little bit more tense. Find something. Try this. Doesn't say. Yeah, right. So he starts stalking his way around and has his goggles. Enhance, and zooms in. He has dark vision this time. I don't think there's, which means he can see in low light as normal light. We said it was dusk, so he has perfect vision right now. We don't have to worry about that. So he's going to get the advantage for his perception check. He's going to do really well. All right. 18 plus 3, so 21. We'll roll a DC, but he should make. Oh yeah, he smokes that DC. So the question is, we know he's going to know for certain whether he sees anything that's going to be conspicuous or not. He does. All right. It definitely seems like there's another group. Is it just one guy? So he sees one guy who's just kind of, you know, doing that thing where he's just kind of loitering around the stables. Obviously has been posted up, like trying to keep an eye on stuff. So pretty easy to pick out of the crowd. There are a few people, you know, walking back and forth. That person, everybody who walks by, he kind of like eyes them up and down. Then kind of goes back to it. I think Cristoff's like, well, I could go grab him. Not waste time, because I think Cristoff's in the mindset is like, if I go back to talk to them, the more time we spend here, the more likely it is somebody's going to be like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy, and be able to point out Reed. Or they're going to talk to the innkeep. The innkeep's going to be like, oh yeah, I saw that kid. They're going to be like, but it's going to be a little bit confusing because they're going to say that the kid's like a manservant or a porter, because the irony that Cristoff calls him a manservant or porter to other people, and then that's how people will know him instead. It's very funny. That irony is not lost on me, that by Cristoff screwing up and pissing him off is somehow going to end up helping him in the end. That's great. You love it. You love to see it. It doesn't happen that often, but you love to see it. So, I think he's like, time is of the essence. And because time is of the essence, I'm going to go get the stuff. You can go get the donkey stuff. So, he's going to stealth forward. Again, he hides completely naturally. He does have disadvantage from his armor, which honestly he's probably not wearing. He's not going to have taken the time to put on chainmail because chainmail is heavy, right? What donned off at? Yeah, he does not have minutes. So we're not going to wait for minutes. So he's not going to have that. He'll have his shield on him. He'll have it slung across his back. That's easy enough to do. He'll have his weapons with him. But he does not have his stuff with him. He's going to try to deal with subterfuge with the guy. So, alright. So he's going to do a little sneaky sneak. But it also means he doesn't have disadvantage stuff. He's going to try to sneak up behind this guy. Who's kind of loitering around. He has plenty of room now. He's in the tree line. He can come up from behind the stables easily enough and kind of come around. Let's go ahead and give it that. I'm going to go ahead and give him the advantage because he does have that obscurement aspect of being a wood elf. Good, because he needed it. Alright, well, he's not trained in stealth, so that's a fat 9. A 9, I don't think is probably gonna do it. So he's sneaking up on this guy, loitering. Classic, you know, steps on a twig. It's guy turns around. They lock eyes. I guess we're gonna roll initiative. Here we go. All right. Let's write things up before I get too far away. So he out the outflow is west. And then we're back to here. So group hides in the room. Rude will barricade. Reed is prepping bags. Cristoff trying to get animals and boat from the stable. All right, Cristoff gets into a fight with Sentry. We'll say bandits. It's one dude. I said bandit, so I think I'll probably end up using the bandit stat block, which I think is a 1/8. That might be 1/4. I think they're 1/8. I think 1/8. I think it's probably 1/8. I think this is just a dude. So go with bandit. Those are D8. Oh, 1/8. DR 1/8, yeah. Sort of dude that we're dealing with. And he is going to have a +1, so we're looking to beat an 11. Oh, Cristoff. We do. All right. So, and then I'm going to put a thing down at the bottom to be like, every round that we go through, things are going to escalate. Because we have lost our stealth aspect. Because we're going hot. Alright, so he has a 14. It's going to be important to keep the initiative because I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so we have our fight. We don't really need to know where everybody else is right now. Beginning. Bandit. And at 0/0, we'll have escalation. We'll do, I guess, a 1d6 because he's outside. I was gonna go 1d4, but he's really not around anybody. There's just one dude out there by himself. So I think I'm gonna go with a d6 as escalation. All right. Amy dies. Cristoff moves first. I think he's going to pull his his longsword, and I think he's just going to try to hammer this dude in the head with the pommel a couple of times. So a couple of attacks real quick. Both, which I think are going to hit very readily. Yeah. Lowest on that's a 16? Okay. Yeah, he has 12 AC and 11 hit points. No reason not to do it two-handed. With one action. He's just going to try to knock this out real quick. Oh, yeah. Technically, he does need the second strike. He hits him, does like a draw and just like pommel right to the face. And as the guy's looking for his face, he just brings it down on the crown of his head. And that guy drops like a sack of potatoes. Grabs him, starts pulling him into the stable. I think he's got plenty of movement to do that. Grabs this guy, plenty of movement. He's knocked him out. Pulls him into the stable. And I guess that would be like attack. I guess object interaction is grabbing the dude. Rest of his movement. So he has a bonus action. He doesn't really have anything bonus action related. So normally it would be like a standard action or a full action to do something like search a person. But I wonder if it's worthwhile to try to do it at disadvantage and try to quick search this guy or something. Really, it's more important that we get horses, but I can't move is the thing, so I can't do anything about that right now. But yeah, we'll use our free like minor action here at disadvantage to try to search this guy. So we'll do an investigation check. Let's figure out a DC real quick. This will be the one for the scene. Ooh, okay. That's all right. DC's 15. So unlikely that he's going to find anything like rifling through this guy's pockets real quick. But he didn't do a thorough search. But now we know what the DC is going to be, and it's high, which is not great. So the DC for this scene is going to be 15. And I don't think this is going to be a simple task that he's trying to do. But hey, you never know. He could roll 2 really high dice. It's basically a free action. Oh, man. Okay, so we got it. Cool. So he reaches into this guy's pockets and starts just pulling him out. Like, what this guy got on him. All right. I presume that this guy has something on him. The question is what does he have on him? So I'm going to say a D3 plus 1. Okay, so he's got 2 things on him. So I'm going to make a pocket contents roll to see what this guy has on him. As he rifles through his pockets real quick. 1 6. I'm not going to pull up the document. I'm just going to use what I have. Makes sense. 1 6 is a weapon. So a weapon that's not his standard issue gear that comes with this stat block. So crossbow, scimitar, leather armor, probably a dagger. Is probably what he has on him if it's something small he didn't see. So probably a dagger. And 6-4. I was hoping to roll something in the 6th column, which is going to be some sort of paper. It's either a list or a note. Let's go with a note. So he pulls this thing out and he finds a note. Dagger and a note. Let's leave this up for the solo dark. I think it's probably orders, most likely. Since they have magic that shows what the person looks like, so they don't really need anything like a wanted poster or something like that. I don't know why I'm rolling that. That's not right. It's a D100. 96, 93. Seek makes sense. Seek goal. All right. Well, obviously their goal is probably, if they're bandits looking for this guy, I'm guessing there's a fat bounty for him. Well, fat, comparatively. The fat for them. Or, it could be something else. It could be some, they could be offering something else. In fact, it's almost likely they might be offering something else. I'm going to look at this. Let me see if if not, I won't worry about it. There's a thing that I have that's like a list of rewards. Should be in case we just didn't want to give just straight up money. But it's not in there. I think I know where it is, and I'm not going to go digging around for it. So, we'll just say filthy lucre. So, it'll be money. Okay. Man, how many? I use my treasure. Ooh. Holy crap. This is going to be a lot of money. I rolled a... We'll round it down to 20. Covering 20 pieces of platinum. That's 200 gold. That's a lot of money. For, again, these are like bottom of the barrel bandits. Like, that's a lot of money. Actually, we're going to put in platinum because I think that that's an important distinction. Because they're not just every person walking around on the street has platinum in their pocket. So this is somebody who is somewhere up in the echelon of society, have this kind of money where it's like, because most people are dealing with like lower class is dealing with the copper and silver, and artisans and things like that are definitely dealing with like silver and gold, and most merchants. So it's really only like the super higher end people who are quite wealthy who have platinum give out, especially multiple pieces of it. Yeah, there's somebody rich wants to read dead or worse. Correct. Does it say? I think it can be dead. Let's say they want them alive, they want them dead, or they want them dead or alive. So I'm going to roll 2d6. If we roll super low, it's going to be dead, because dead's bad for us. If it's middle of the road, it's dead or alive. If it's on the high end, they're only giving out the reward if it's alive. Dead or alive? Okie doke. Now, here's the real question. Does it have any signature as to how do you claim the bounty? Where do you go to claim the bounty? So we'll start with the highest level. Like, does it say the very specific person? I think that that's extremely unlikely. We've already seen a lot of obfuscation about that. So I think that's extremely unlikely. Yeah, not at all. So is it telling us maybe like a place that we need to go to? I think that's 50-50. Yeah. Okay. Some place. All right. So it's some place that we need to go to. Is this a high profile place? Yes. Okay. We can look at our map. High profile place. I assume it can't be White Birch Inn, because the moment the innkeeper would have seen Reed, he would have snatched him. So it can't be that. So it's got to be something else. I can't imagine that it's the Priory. So what makes the most sense? It's got to be from somewhere we came from, right? If not. You know, there is the ferry repair. Ooh. Yeah, maybe this one. Sorry. Bad head's in the way. Maybe this one. Any of these could go. There's this isolated homestead that's just hanging out, though. What is that place? County map key. Yeah, let's go with Yorg's Island. That makes sense. I like this. Alright, so we're going to go with Yorg's Island. Place that we haven't been anywhere near, really. I mean, not really. Alright. No proof. And to be We'll say proof. We'll say to be delivered. Lord's Island. We knew that the religious side was already something that had something to do with this. And so we're doubling down on that aspect. But that is it for Cristoff. Cristoff's fully out. Bandit, unconscious. So that puts us down to our escalation. So I'm going to roll a d6. If I roll a 6, things get way worse. We've done pretty well thus far. I rolled a 5. So as of right now, things are going as well as they can. We go to the top of the round again. This time, if I roll a 5 or better on the escalation die, things get worse. Back at the top, that's Cristoff. Cristoff jams that stuff in the pocket. Sure, he'll take the dagger. Why not? And he's going to run over to donkeys. And he's going to grab tack. I don't think he's going to put the tack on him, but he's going to grab like their... Going to like throw the ropes over them. And essentially just try to like get them out of the stable. And try to... I guess he'll probably... I guess he'll try to jury rig some way to get the boat across them. Or he'll throw like a clove hitch on him and drag him. But that's gonna be... Gonna make a lot of noise though. You know what? He'll worry about the donkeys first. So he's gonna go grab the donkeys. And move them out. I'm gonna give him an animal handling check just to see. I don't think that he's going to fail to do it. I want to see like how far he can get the donkeys going. And it's not really the right person for this job. Not well. Okay. So it's a struggle. He's struggling with these guys. You know, they're like hee-haw, hee-haw. They don't want to move. So he's gonna get them. He's just gonna get them to the door, and that's gonna be sort of his primary action. All of his movement. And he does not have any way to communicate with them. Does he? No. I guess at this point, let's roll initiative for our other people. All right, they're ready to go. They're moving with a purpose. All right, so both of them are going at the top. So it's going to be Reed with a 21 and Gertrude with a 20. I'll take it. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, that's for sure. 20. And we'll go with that with Reed. We'll assume that they have done the things that they were supposed to do last round. Grab stuff, put stuff together. The bandit's doing bandit things. There are a few inside, and this guy outside is out cold. We don't have to worry too much about him. That's perfect. All right. Escalation die time, so we're not doing well. Roll. And it'll be real easy to roll that with a d20 now, wouldn't it? Okay, so we came in under the bar just again. We're limboing real well. Up to a 4+. Back up to the top of the Reed. Reed's peering out the window, being like, where the fuck is Cristoff? Trying to look for him. He doesn't want to blow the horn again, because if he blows the horn of silent alarm again, Cristoff's going to come running. Because he can't really give them a message. He doesn't really have any other way to communicate with him. All right. Well, here's the thing: is if the escalation goes off, things are gonna get real bad real quick. So we really want to probably move away. I think he looks at it and goes, "Richard, here. If I can't see Cristoff. So either he's in trouble, or he's doing something for us. But whatever it is, something's keeping him from coming back. So I think we just go. I think we just go. We just go. And so Reed just kind of rolls over the window down the shingle on the outside and is going to try to drop down to the first story, which to me feels like a real good acrobatics check. He's probably not going to do well at. Yeah, that's 13. That's still a failure though. So he's going to take that d6 of falling damage. Ow. I'm okay. I'm okay. And it rolls around with the heavy bags. Gertrude's going to be right behind him. She's going to roll and drop herself out. She, however, is going to use guidance on herself since it's her turn. So she'll give herself that extra d4 as she tries to make an acrobatics check. But it helps. She also plunks outside. She only takes 2 points of damage. Reed kind of scrambles out of the way as she kind of thunks down on the ground next to him. Yes, let's go. Let's head to the trees. And the two of them are not going to get all the way to the trees in this round. The trees are a little bit further off, but if they do a full run next time, they'll definitely get in there. That's where they're going. They're heading off to the trees. All right, our boys gonna try to do another animal handling check and roll about as well as they did last time. So he's got the donkeys out. They're out. He's making his way across the clearing back around the way he came from around the inn. So he's going around the backside of the inn. But donkeys are, finding him the whole way, trying to get him as he's trying to get them over there. He's got, all their tack and stuff kind of slung over his shoulder, and he's like, I'll have to go back for the boat if I have an opportunity to do it. If not, this is going to be it. All right. The other two are carrying all their heavy luggage as well as they can towards the woods. And we got to roll for our escalation. All right. On a 4 or better on this D6. So there's a 50% shot. Things are about to get real worse. And it's probably going to be for Cristoff, who's standing out in the open. Maybe. There it is. It's happened. All right. I'm going to roll a D6. We'll go... I could split up evenly. Yeah, I'll just split it up evenly. That's fine. All right, so 1 through 3, they're going after Cristoff. 4 through 6, they make it to the room. They make it to the room. All right. All right. The bandits start banging on the door. But remember that everybody's kind of out in the open now. So if they're able to get that door open... So I don't think they're going to force it on this turn. I think they're trying to be polite because essentially this person doesn't know anybody's after them. I think they're knocking on the door, like kind of forcefully, but trying to get their attention. But otherwise they're going to try to break down the door. You know what? I'm trying to make things easier on myself. Why should I do that? We should let the Oracle roll determine that. Do they try to break down the door? Yes. Okay. All right. They immediately go to trying to break down the door. All right. We know what the DC is for this. It's 15. They're going to try to break it down. It's a couple of bandits, so they're going to get the help action. And they'll easily do it. There's a splintering of wood as one of them kicks in the door, and they flood into the room. Nobody's in the room. Across them, there's a small shutters. Shutters are open. Windows open. Curtains drawn to the side. Wind. Outside, in the fading light, they can see one small figure and one larger figure with a trunk between them. Backpacks on their back, shuffling towards the wood line. They run to the sill and look out there. They've taken their action this time. So, even if they wanted to take a shot, they couldn't, because they've already done their actions. They definitely see them and start yelling about it. And you can see them reach for crossbows that they're going to try to shoot these people as they're running away. Okie doke. Well, that's that. Things have gotten worse. So the bandits break down the door. That would bring us to our escalation. There's not a lot of escalation we can do at this point. That's pretty much it. It was trying to get out of this without a fight. That's unlikely now. Alright. Top of the round. Reed, Gertrude, they're running. I'm going to give them, I think, just athletics checks. To see how well they do. Yeah, not a strength for either one of them. A +1 for him, and a +1 for her. Alright, T checks, they're basically working in tandem. So one of them fails, that's going to be Reed who fails. But Gertrude's going to pass. Gertrude also probably would have used guidance, maybe. I don't know, her hands are kind of full. She could cast... Oh, but she can give the health action as a bonus action. I forgot about that. She is going to use her bonus action to help Reed. Do it. No. Alright. Alright, so they're moving towards there. Let's see, we rolled a 12 and a 17. That would be 29. Let's make this nice and easy. 29 of 45. I was gonna say, well, 25 of, I guess, 90. That's for them getting to the tree line because they're carrying all this heavy stuff with them. So they're a bit slower. But once they reach 90, based on summing all their effort, if they get there, they're into the tree line, they're going to be away from the arrows. Not good for them. They might have to drop this stuff and just run for it. Reed can't really take a hit. So it is on her turn. I think she's going to wheel around to try to put herself in between them, so she at least gives him cover. Steve, we'll say half cover. You know what? No, he's small, so he's got that. Plus, they're trying to carry a big trunk in between them. He's got 3/4 cover for sure. Being a short guy. From Gertrude and trunk. That's good. He can use that. That gives him a +5 to his AC. So he'll have an AC of 11, 16. So he might not get shot, which would be great. All right. That's what they do. They're hustling off. Cristoff. All right. Do another animal handling check. Again, not the right person to be handling the animals. He does well this time, though. So donkeys are starting to move. He's starting to get them moving. And he's wheeling around the corner. He sees the two of them in the distance running towards the tree line. He looks up as he hears sort of the back of the... and can look up and see these crossbows starting to stick out of that second story window. What's he gonna do? That's a very good question. He could stop and try to fight these guys, but they're gonna have a lot of cover from being inside, shooting through the small window. So I think he's gonna just try to hoof it again. We'll give him a second check. So they're just running at this point. So I think he's probably past them because he's not lugging heavy stuff. So he's much closer. So I'm gonna give him. He would have needed to get 45, and he has what, like? What's his wisdom? +1. So that'd be 25, 26, 27. So he has 27 of the 45 he needs. I like that. And they're going to see him because he's going to come into eye line, but he's going to be like kind of off to the side. It's going to be hard for both of them to shoot at different targets out of there. But also, they don't care that much about that guy. Stuff is at, what did we say, 27 or 45? So I'm just taking the DC and multiplying it by 3 for them. So theirs is doubled by 2 because 2 of them are working on it together. And they're going to stick together. All right, the bandits. It's their turn. There's 2 of them in this window. We don't know how many there are in total. I said that they were shouting, so I think that they either think the guy outside, there's still a guy outside who can help them, or there's other people still in the inn. So they're going to take a shot. I think they're going to take one at Reed. First one's going to shoot at Reed. And miss. Second one's going to shoot at Gertrude. And also miss. Great. So they're firing into that, into this failing sunlight as they run towards the wood line. They're shooting that. Question. It's the end of the round. Does anybody come out of the inn? No. All right. So maybe it was just the 3 of them then. So we really just have to deal with these 2. So we run. We run so far away. Gertrude and Reed. Gertrude, again, bonus action help. That helped them. I don't feel like Cristoff is still not close enough to be able to use like a bless or anything like that. Not that the only thing that bless doesn't help with is ability checks. So actually not as useful, not super useful here. All right. So Reed will roll. Okay. That's a 14 for him. She's going to roll. Get an 11. Okay, so 25 total. And 54. So they're making slow progress, but they are making progress. We're over halfway there. So the question is like, what is range on this guy? Oh, it's a light crossbow too. Yeah, but range is 80. So just Oracle questions. Are they beyond the close range? Yes. Okay. So all the attacks are going to be at disadvantage now. That is good. As they try to flee. So they continue to flee. Cristoff gives his animal handling check. All right. Gets a hot 3. But, you know, honestly, he's kind of in front of them at this point. He's still in front of them. He's still making better time than they are. As he's hoofing it with them. All right. The bandits are going to take the shots. Now they have disadvantage. So, same thing. So we'll have one go after Reed. What is there to hit? I don't think they're going to... They only have a +3. Okay. Yeah, 10 wouldn't hit him even without the cover. And against Gertrude. Against Gertrude, the low is 18. And that's going to peg her back. So she takes a crossbow coral right to the back. For a D8 +1. Ouch. D8 +1. Not good. Okay. Perfect. All right. Can't probably take another one of those shots, but... Down to 7 hit points. Like a water's Gertrude, as she is hoofing in. And she's going to running now. She could, on her turn, try to healing word herself, because a good bolt will take either one of them down. But if she goes down, nobody can really heal her. You can just stabilize her. Really bad if she goes down, but it's also not good if Reed goes down. So narratively, they're going to be protecting Reed. Okay, so they are running. We're back at the top again. So question. I assume that they are like converging, running towards each other towards a point into the distance tree line once Cristoff sees them. So I think he's going to keep doing that. Are they close enough to swap? Okay. Yes. Perfect. So they swap. Reed, Cristoff, like, just drops the stuff over the back of one of the donkey's backs, the closest one, and looks at Gertrude's like, swap! Because he has a better strength score. And she has better animal handling. And he runs over and grabs and he's got a shield on his back, so I guess I can give him his shield bonus as well. It is on his back, and that is where they are shooting. And he grabs it from behind and looks at Reed and goes, run! All right, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to swap things out, so Gertrude's going to be making an animal handling check this time, which she's much better at. Well, kind of. 11. So she's at 11. I was keeping them together, so I'm just going to keep them together as far as they were doing. Get this way. I'm going to go up to 41. It's going to take over Cristoff's track. So she grabs and starts moving them there almost to the tree line. Two of them. So, unfortunately, Reed's going to not have that bonus help action anymore. But Reed will roll. Get 11. Okay. And then Cristoff's going to roll. Roll very poorly. So they get a total of 16 as they try to push for the tree line. Okay, that gets them to 70. So they're there, they're getting close. But the donkeys move a lot faster. They move faster than people. So they keep running. The bandits, are the bandits going to continue to shoot? Question mark. Yes. Okay, so they're not going to drop and try to run out, chase them. They're going to go back and take another shot. So we'll do the first one on Cristoff. They'll have disadvantage because they're in the long range now. No way that's going to hit. And against Reed. Missed this one. And they only have a +3, and that 13 is not going to hit his 16 with this cover. So more bolts go flying past them as they're running towards the woods. Back up at the top of the round. All right, here we go. They're going to push it. Go. Now let's do this. Okay. We need 20 from the two of them combined, so they got to get 10 or better, both of them. That, they get in there. Gertrude's almost assuredly will get in there, so we'll do Gertrude first. With a 6, she passes, and she's got to get there. And I got to stop saying things are definite before they're definite, because that's when things go wrong. All right, so she gets a 47, and she passes into the tree line. Point where there's enough cover and the light's dark enough at this point that they can't see in there, and they can't really aim and hit her anyways. Essentially, they're blinded as far as that's concerned. She has, I guess, heavy obscurement at that point, plus the cover of the trees. All right, so the two of them, all they got to do is both roll 10s. So, Reed first. Natural 20. All right, so he would have made it by himself. So the adrenaline pumps in as soon as Cristoff starts, shouting in his face to run. He picks it up, and Cristoff easily handles it. So that's what 31, 32, 33, 34 to their check, which is much better than they were rolling. So 34, they end up with 104. So they run a bit into the woods. A bit further than where the donkeys are. They drop their stuff and they're like, okay. Do we keep going? What do we do? What do we do? I think Reed is totally lost. He's so far out of his depth. He's looking at Cristoff, the kind of like battle-hardened person of them. What do we do? All right. Look, we're gonna have a few minutes. Give me the chain shirt. He throws the heavy chain shirt. He's gonna start putting it on. Putting his actual armor on, which takes him like 5 minutes. So he's starting to put his armor on. He's going to have help with Reed help tied in the back. Stuff like that. Does that. And Gertrude, get the tack on. That's going to take a similar amount of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll, I think, 2d20. And that's going to be how many minutes it takes these guys to get here. So they're already committing 5 minutes. Okay, so they're going to take their time. They're going to look for that last guy who's not around. So they have plenty of time to like get the stuff kitted up, get that, put it together. So the question is, if it takes that long, are they coming at all? Yes, but just barely. Okay, so the two of them, they grab that one that's gotten knocked out. They take enough time. They got some smelling salts. What happened? What happened? This guy came out of nowhere and just started hitting me in the face, and that's all I remember. Right. Well, they headed north. We know which way they're going. Get your ass up. Go get them. All right. So they've got a few minutes. So we're going to give them, let's say at this point, we'll essentially give them 15 minutes. They've got 15 minutes of prep to do something. So we'll fill this all up. The important thing is they have 15 minutes of prep before the 3 bandits show up. Now again, one of those, like, I can't imagine these guys have like a healing potion or anything on them. I mean, we'll see, like, does one of them miraculously have a healing potion on it? Incredibly unlikely, or have like anything that allows them to, in that, like the healer's kit with the old healer feat. Extremely unlikely. Yeah, no, not at all. So one of those dudes is showing up to the fight with 1 hit point. He's dragging butt. I was gonna say by Reed, that would be impressive. No, by Cristoff. And that seems like a very, very suitable place for us to leave for this episode. And next session we'll jump in and basically have this fight part 2. But this time we're going to be in a little bit better situation to maybe bring this to them. Bring the fight to them, which we would like. So, yeah. Wow. I thought it was going to be a pretty leisurely episode. We're going to find some stuff out, and in the morning we'd just take off, and that would be that. But what ended up happening is that somebody came in the door, you know, like the writing advice says, have a guy walk through the door with a gun. Somebody comes looking for Reed, while they're still in the process of trying to figure out information, trying to plan about where they're going and what they're going to try to do once they get there. And we didn't get an opportunity. Get a lot of great insight. We got what we could. We're probably going to try to have to piecemeal that every time that we come across people going forward to be like, can we get any information? It's great for us, like, playing the game, because it means, like, now I really get to do the discovery and all that stuff, and they're going to randomly happen upon a lot of stuff. But I wanted them to try to be as proactive as they could about what they were trying to do. It's just that, you know, things get in the way sometimes. And that's what happens. So, could have gone way worse. Didn't go worse. Again, another situation in which our group of characters really just skates out of it by the skin of their teeth. Let's see. I am looking at the stuff right here. What is the stuff that we need to do at the end of our session? I don't think we need to do anything anymore because I think we have fully loaded him up until he gets his... Oh no, we can give out background stuff, right? Isn't that where we were at? Have a point of background give out to his stats, his abilities. Find them real quick. Yes, actually, it's our final one. Let's go ahead. I'll throw you guys over to workspace real quick, and this will be the last thing we do for today. All right. Yep. Faster. So we've given 1 point to wisdom and 1 point to dexterity. We have +3 from our background. I'm looking at the stats right now. We have 14, 12, 12, 10, 12, 13. You know, we did really well on his charisma checks. He, in fact, was able to pass charisma checks while at disadvantage. So, I don't really know why we wouldn't give that last point to his charisma to bump his charisma up to a 14 and a +2. So, I think that makes all the sense in the world. 1 point to charisma. Got that raw charisma of John Hamm. Ghost of Blood. Worth a watch. All right. So, that makes it a +2. I should write that down. Write that down. Write that down. All right. Oh, hold on. You know, it helps if you're looking at the right character sheet. I was looking at Reed's. Cristoff's, not Reed's. Thought I was looking at Reed's. So, actually, we could give that 1 point to charisma. That would take us from a 16 to a 17. The only way that we can make an assignment right now of 1 point here, that would make any sort of difference at this point would be to put it in Constitution. And Homeboy could really use an extra hit point, so I kind of want to give it to him. He has 3 hit points. I'm willing to give it to him right now to heal, so that way he could have gasp 4 hit points. So I think that is what I'm going to do. He just needs a little bit more survival. Also, he's been taking a lot of lumps. He's also probably been doing more cardio than he's probably ever done in his life in the last few days. So, I think it makes sense to go ahead and give his Constitution the bump. So, his Constitution will go up by that. That means that his total hit points will go up by 1. And because I am a kind and benevolent Dungeon Master, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he can have that extra hit point right now to go from 3 to 4. Probably won't make any difference. Probably the next thing that hits him will knock him out. But just in case, that 1 hit point, every hit point matters in the end. Well, that was an interesting end to the session that I thought would be a very low-key session. Thank you for hanging out with me. These are always really fun. These always go in really unexpected directions that I'm never... couldn't possibly even prepare for if I wanted to. But we got some good information. We learned a little bit about the world. We learned a little bit about people we need to talk to, some areas we might want to stay away from. But we also looked at a little bit of the lower scale map for the first time that I was putting together just right before we started play. And that will be the scale that we're working at the beginning. That's where we do our sort of adventure tier 1 adventuring. So those levels 1 through 4, or in this case, 0 through 4. So we're going to hope that we get up into things next time. But first, we have to deal with these bandits who are coming after us. If we could take one of them alive and talk to them, that'd be great. If we can't, I think Reed's to the point where it's like, hey, I gotta stop anybody who's coming after me at this point. They're just going to keep coming. So if we let anybody go, then they're just going to come back after me again. So we're going to see Reed get a little bit more bloodthirsty, I think, as we move through this. Getting shot at and stabbed, and all sorts of terrible things keep happening, and poisoned, and all sorts of stuff keeps happening to him. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. If you like content like this, a like, Or if you feel like dropping down, if you're over on YouTube, drop down into the comments, give us a little comment that helps with the engagement, pushes this video out to other people. If you want to see more stuff like this, hey, you can watch the whole series. This is the first time you're catching us at episode 9. You can see how we got to here and where we're going from here. I mean, get the whole plan. You can see me make all maps if you want to do that too. That's all down in there. As well as the previous solo play that we did with Leah, the wizard. That I ended up dropping, and that's my fault. But we got, what, like 50 sessions of that? So we are well on our way here. I think this one's going to be a lot more planned out, so one should have longer legs than that. I mean, we're almost 10 sessions in, and we haven't even gotten to the place that we need to get to yet to get him that first level. It's a slow roll. I'm a masochist about that stuff. I don't know why I'm like this. It's how I am. So if you like this sort of solo play and you want to see more about the hex crawling once we really get into the hex crawling and see how that works, hey, follow, go back and can watch this again. We do other streams as well, so we talk about like dungeon mastering, game mastering, and different stuff. I am in the process of going through stuff from the old free RPG day that just went on. I've gone through most of it at this point. This is actually just the stack of stuff I haven't messed with yet. So I am about 3/4 of the way there. Once I do that, I'll probably have a roundup about how I thought about the things that I picked up, things that I got a chance to play, things that I have only had a chance to read through. Some I've played, some I've only had a chance to read through, so talk about that. Different systems, things I like, things that I might want to bring out, things that surprised me, things both good and bad, stuff like that, and other systems. Just try to shout stuff out so everybody who is tired of playing D&D let you know that there are tons of other games out there if you ever want to try them out. And there's nice, easy ways to do this. All that stuff is generally available after Free RPG Day as digital downloads. You can go get a free PDF of it and play some different style of games. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you guys real soon, alright? Bye-bye.